Today's video is brought to you by our friends over at Manscaped. Ladies and gentlemen, it's smooth sack summer, and I get to talk about how you make your balls and your body look real great in the summer. Ladies and gentlemen, get the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra today with the body buffer, because that 5.0 Ultra comes with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra product. Yes, we're talking a lot of ultras. A 5th generation trimmer coming with 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads. Of course, after this, you got the Weed Whacker 2.0 for that nose and ear hair trimmer, okay? It's waterproof, cordless, and rechargeable. And the best part is skin-safe technology, meaning that you can tuck some of those hard-to-reach hairs with absolute ease. And of course, you've got the Crop Soother and Crop Preserver aftershave lotion. And of course, we've got some free gifts as well, too. The Boxers 2.0 and the Shet 2.0 travel bag that allows you to keep all of these goodies in one place, organized and ready to go. And of course, if you need to stay fresh as well, extra fresh, you've got the body buffer, which keeps the summer heat at bay. So ditch that old loofah of yours and embrace a very new level of freshness with that signature body buffer silicone scrubber. So head over to manscaped.com today and get the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. When you use promo code SOG, you get 20% off and free international shipping with 2 free gifts. That's 20% off plus free shipping and 2 free gifts with the promo code SOG at manscaped.com. That said, let's head it into the video. Over the last year and a half, I've made videos regarding the search of one of the most popular pieces of lost media on the internet, Jeff the Killer, ladies and gentlemen. This is not only important for lost media fans, but it's important for me and my channel itself. I have started my channel on covering things like creepypastas and haunted gaming, for instance, where I read through creepypastas of the gaming variety and quickly moved to actual scary stories that were shared around all over image boards and various forums and wikis all over the internet. One of the most popular creepypastas in history is Jeff the Killer. Now, the story isn't necessarily that crazy or amazing, but the image that's always associated with it is one of actual internet legends. It's one that people have been trying to find for quite a few years at this point. And I feel like in 2024, it's been the year of lost media. Just a month ago, we actually found one of the oldest, one of the most cryptic songs in adult media, in adult entertainment. Just shy over 2 weeks ago, we actually had found the origin point of the back rooms. For anybody that missed out on that, just 2 weeks ago, through finding old versions of naming patterns on image files and looking through various image board archives, a lot of internet sleuths actually ended up coming across a webpage all the way back from May 3rd, 2003, where scrolling downwards, they found the original point of the back rooms, the original image shared on 4chan and all over the world. Looking further into this page, they traced it back to an actual city and even an address. Now, of course, if the internet can find one of the most obscure back rooms and one of the wildest songs that was hidden in snippets of adult media, I have no doubt that the internet can find Jeff the Killer. In fact, it's a story that I want to find so bad that I've actually put a $10,000 bounty that is still active to this day. Now, I believe it's because of this bounty that a lot of people have been sending me an image. And one image that I'm going to tell you right now, you might as well stop sending me. Now, this is a very popular image for the Jeff the Killer search. And very recently, the entire board, or the team behind searching for this, is beginning to debunk this. So today's video is going to be all about the people that send images of what are actual long-term debunks of this Jeff the Killer search. Now, over the last few years searching for this story, searching for this original image on the internet, there have been a lot of fakes, a lot of theories, a lot of debunking, and while there are a few leads, because of the prevalence of artificial intelligence and image manipulation, tons of fakes have existed. And that's what we're actually going to kind of look at today. Now, to give some good news, over the last several days, over the last several weeks, there have been a lot of searches. Now, one of the principal individuals behind the search, Juvental, actually ended up finding, in April 2006, original Jeff the Killer 1. To give you a quick idea, there are 2 Jeff the Killer images. There's JTK1 and JTK2. I've covered this extensively in my previous Jeff the Killer videos when I talked about this subject. So again, an internet investigator, Juventhal here, actually ended up finding, through the use of something known as Detective Ra's Wayback Machine. So remember, the Wayback Machine is this brilliant resource that's unfortunately currently under danger, but different story right there, that actually archives old school images, old school websites, old school web pages right there for everyone to see down the road in the year 2024. Now this tool, Wayback Machine Downloader, is a tool that came out into the scene August 7, 2022, and it allows users to download an entire website from the Wayback Machine. And given that the Wayback Machine is in danger, you might as well start using this just because, you gotta be able to preserve things off of one of the largest records of, human history in a way. So, yeah, this tool is basically being used to actually grab images of Jeff the Killer. To show you exactly how this kind of stuff works, Juventhal actually posted an unlisted video where they actually titled it "Moment JTK1 was found." So literally you can actually see how this tool works, and it almost feels like somebody is going through forensic tools, but realistically these are advanced searches for images regarding Jeff the Killer. So for instance, they find this one image, but of course, as the system is parsing through hundreds of thousands of images, right here, one of them particularly is this JTK1 image titled cc.jpg. And of course, all of these get added to an entire table that is all tabulated by chronology, okay? We're trying to find the earliest points of this image showing up. Now, because of the fickle nature of the internet back in the day, obviously there is an expectation that this image might be missing forever. But maybe we might be able to get at least somewhat close as to who the actual person behind the Jeff the Killer image is. Obviously, the Jeff the Killer image is not the real image. It is obviously altered. So who the fuck is the person behind it? Now that image I get sent is super duper wild, ladies and gentlemen. 9 days ago, this image keeps on being sent all the way over to me over on Twitter all the time. Now, according to this actual post, the image was actually on the subreddit in 2002, as evidenced with this archive link. So if you look through it right over here, you can see that I saw this thread on Futaba channel, What Is It? And of course, this is from December 17, 2022, where they actually showed an image of that same debunked file that I'm talking about, and again, multiple images on the Futaba image board. So a few days ago, there was actually a post entirely over here, an entire document again, which is the comprehensive list of fake mockups. Now, one of the users on this investigation, Pat64Wizard, actually compiled some of these images right here. Now, to give an idea, Now, according to this, it gives you a quick summary. The following two pictures are the only known Jeff the Killer images that are actually related to the very original that people are trying to find. JTK1, which is also known as Cute Jeff, and JTK2, which is the image we all have seen attributed to the creepypasta out there. The various games, so on and so forth. Now, of course, some of the images that have basically been tossed at me, people have been blowing this and sending it my way, wondering, hey, can I collect on the bounty? Now, one of this is an image of this toddler, for instance, which literally was confirmed by one of the Discord users who actually made this image that it was a fake. Literally, they were like, yeah, I did a while ago. It's me when I was like 3 back in 2007 with the Jeff the Killer background. And then, of course, one of them was Katie Robinson, who basically was debunked by looking through this web archive link right here. Now, the thing with Katie Robinson is one of the places people had tracked her image back down to, that people had related was Jeff the Killer, was basically all the way back in 2008 on a 4chan post where they said, "Attention 4chan, yesterday I found my sister in a room crying her eyes out. I asked why she was feeling down and she said it was because she is fat. I became furious, demanding she tell me who is making fun of her. She said that she posted her picture on a website called 4chan.org. She continued to say this website made fun of her and she posted shops of her pictures. I am appalled. Take a good look at this picture because this beautiful woman, my sister," and basically that she had basically ended everything at that point, so to speak. Now, of course, people had started to look further into this situation, and it found that the actual origin point of that image ended up being a website known as truechristian.com, which literally the actual image was from an individual known as Heather, so to speak, over here. I'm not going to list the last name right here. Where Heather writes to Pastor Jim, how can you call yourself a true Christian when a Christian person, a man of God, dislikes gays and lesbians? Just because it says things in the Bible doesn't mean all that much. And of course, when you kind of scroll down over here, you can see the image is right over here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, obviously, the pastor from truechristian.com didn't take too kindly and, in fact, posted the image over here straight up, decided to roast her at this moment in time. Which, of course, you can imagine this is not Jeff the Killer. This all just goes back to an individual that apparently appears to actually have pretty active social media. Now, of course, one of the mock-ups over here, which was apparently, according to this argument, debunked in Some Ordinary Gamers' video. Okay, so yours truly found an old unedited picture of Jeff the Killer on my PC drive. And if you scroll down a little bit, you can find that this is the image that is being related to right here. So bad Photoshop jobs all around. Again, if it were this easy, then it probably would have been solved over a year ago. So, of course, the more you go down into it, the Haduri image, which is also another very popular image that also has been sent to me. I've actually seen every single image of this in my Twitter inbox at some point throughout the course of the year. And again, when it comes to reclaiming a bounty or proving lost media, I'm going to leave it up to these people to actually, confirm things and whatnot, because they've done a whole slew of research, as we're about to see going forward into this video. So this person, while is still unconfirmed, this specific photo is actually debunked. Then, of course, you've got the green-eyed Jeff, which you've probably seen on a fair amount of YouTube thumbnails, that also ended up being debunked. Now, of course, down the road, there were plenty of artificial intelligence mock-ups through the use of the DALL-E tool and various image generators that exist. So obviously, some of these images involved this cluster right here. And of course, while this was generated, it was actually confirmed by the creator. And a lot of people had seen this from the YouTuber Goose Boost. So down the forward over here, you can see that DALL-E, for instance, right now, you can actually see were generated right here. How are you able to tell this is the DALL-E AI? Well, if you look at the bottom right over here, you can see that this is actually a watermark. These color bars are a watermark of the artificial intelligence software. So again, I don't think the AI is able to generate any form of breast modifications, if anything. I don't think that makes anything legitimate. So these images are still not true whatsoever. They are still AI-generated stuff. And it makes trying to dig for the original image just that much more difficult. So this image I have also seen, and it was according to this entire research created by a user known as Brand.istic, who was then apparently stolen from that Discord and just shared on the internet like wildfire. So, of course, some other real scary ones was this one right here. This is absolutely downright repulsive. And, of course, one of them, which is absolutely wild, is this sort of inverted, horizontally flipped image of what I believe to be somebody that is insanely constipated. Now, of course, the thing about actual, images at this moment in time is there are still a couple leads that people are looking into. One of them is Sonoko, which is actually one of the very ongoing leads right now, which they write, many consider her a still ongoing lead. If other images resurface, they may be found in the Sonoko search document. And of course, every single one of these leads actually has their own documentation that one can look through. Sonoko's Tsukagoshi, which is one of the leads right over here, has their own actual independent maintainers and actual investigators as well, too. This is a very, 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 I would say, organized search for what is one of the internet's most sought-after pieces of lost media. Now, of course, for quick recap, Sonoko Tsukagoshi was a late 1990s and early 2000s Japanese net idol who was popular in various 2CH and 2-channel boards, which encompassed murderous ugly threads, rate me threads, Photoshop beauty threads, net idol threads, and many others. She was often criticized for appearance and behavior, namely for being overweight, refusing to work or study, and or having graduated late in her education, which in this point was age 22. Sonoko was often referred to as gotch or gotchi, which is equivalent to fat, due to her overweight appearance as a means for people to harass and bully her, which obviously we don't condone here whatsoever. Initially, Sonoko rejected this name, but was later seen adopting it as she began using it across her blogs. So of course they've given an entire timeline in this situation, even going back to this individual's, I guess, early life, where they talk about them being born in the year 1984, entering junior high in around 1997, and of course when they begin their net idol career all the way in 1998 and 1999. And for anybody wondering what a net idol is, according to Japan, a net idol is a specific type of internet celebrity and a subcategory of the idol industry in Japan. Net idols first emerged in the 1990s through personal websites and blogs. I guess nowadays it's probably more attributable that you can put these up as general Japanese influencers, or maybe more commonly VTubers at this moment. The Japanese idol industry is massive, generates tons of money every year, and you can imagine the amount of actual scrutiny these people get throughout their entire short-lived careers on the internet. And of course, if you look through these threads, the amount of actual grabs that people have done in order downloading their actual images, making the edits, actually confirming and debunking certain edits, which, Jesus Christ, this one is absolutely scary to see right now. You can see that grabbing their information from image boards, finding what is actually usable, finding things, dating them down, and actually getting some idea of what is real and what isn't. So Sonoko obviously is a possible lead, but it's not confirmed. Because the thing about Sonoko is she is up there with two other individuals. The other one being Koge Dombo, which is a manga artist that became popular in the late 90s. Although she is known for keeping her face hidden, there have been a few instances where it's been revealed. There have been multiple instances where she was compared with Jeff the Killer in Japanese threads, comments. The image on the right here, which is what we're seeing, was actually spread on 2-channel threads all the way back in the early 2000s. And again, these people are literally all the way active up into finding these same individuals, all the way from 2020 in certain cases, where the same individual was wearing a mask, obviously during the COVID-19 pandemic, obviously showing up on Abema News right here. And again, when people are looking into not just the images, they're also looking into the rooms as well too for these people. So obviously Jeff the Killer, the image, has a whole room behind them, and it's not exactly very well detailed, but it's enough for people to start looking at these people's rooms and maybe gauging if the individual is Jeff the Killer based on the similarities they find in the room. So obviously they're looking at portions of the room and trying to identify what they can, clothing racks, maybe pieces of clothing, so to speak, layouts. Everything is basically calculated, especially in internet searches like this. But the one that I absolutely really have my money on is the Mariko lead, which I actually talked about in the last Jeff the Killer video we looked into, which is where the story takes an incredibly dark turn, where it possibly introduces elements of domestic abuse, domestic violence, or just, again, abuse in general regarding, partners. So obviously, this is a situation where this is when the actual trail gets as cold as it ever has been. Now, obviously, if you don't understand Mariko, a quick understanding is one of the Discord users on the actual Jeff the Killer search, Eat Raw Skin, came across a picture of what seemed to be an unnamed Japanese woman on a website known as gazobox.com, an image board. And again, based on facial recognition skills, they could point out incredible similarities between Mariko and the Jeff the Killer image. Those actual similarities being the hairline, the forehead size, and of course, the mouth. So of course, where it gets really scary, like I said, was one of the actual boyfriends that she had, Suzukumaru, was actually on multiple different pages, promoting Mariko around the internet. So of course, Eat Raw Skin actually had dug in and found how unstable the relationship had seemed to be, as well as how Souza just kept posting pictures of Mariko, and it's strongly believed that Souza created the page for Mariko, and it's not clear if she even consented to the page. If she didn't consent, there's a possibility that Souza actually has the final actual product and, the people's reactions to them. And again, the amount of image analysis on this one person compared to JTK1 is something that we've seen before. People are comparing absolute every single part. And it's through this much facial identification that I can probably put money down and say, this might actually be the individual. Still, that being said, we don't have final images. So obviously the people that are still sending images around, everything that you've looked at is still debunked. This is very much an actual cold case that is still incredibly active. And with 3 leads so far, and 3 strong leads, the investigation is actually far from being over. Now, I personally think that we're on the cusp of actually finding this. Look, like a month ago, a little over a month ago, we ended up actually finding what is an obscure song that was found in adult pornography, in adult videos. And, that was something that I think many people probably didn't expect, but it took one coomer that actually decided to fire up their coom senses and realize, hold on a second, I've gooned to this song before. And that's how, that piece of lost media was discovered. What really is wild about this story, and the reason why I'm so interested in this, is because looking at the back rooms that we literally had found 2 weeks ago, right? Like the internet had found this. This was discovered, and there's a lot of parallels to the Jeff the Killer research, right? To give a quick summarization of what had happened in this situation, people had started to look at naming schemes for certain cameras, right? So the way that certain cameras, take photos and videos, they automatically name files. So some really wild individual decided to find exact specific naming patterns and, identify them to certain cameras. And by using those naming schemes, they had searched through various image boards through the course of several years, like several years worth of data. And of course, combining it with EXIF data information, which a lot of it is stripped, but going through it one by one, a lucky break was caught that eventually led people to find an image that led all the way back to the Revolution Raceway. So clearly, ladies and gentlemen, pocket racing in this situation was a place where, the back rooms was located, and this was pretty adjacent to that whole situation. It's a wild story to come into, but it's that level of research and that level of lucky breaks that causes people to find what is an image that has also been searched for years at this point. Now, the reason why it looks very similar to Jeff the Killer is, in my personal opinion, I really think that because of the age of Jeff the Killer, which is, I would say, around the same, maybe a little bit older than like this, backroom stuff. The problem with information as old as that is obviously archiving and, wayback machining that information. It's not readily accessible. It's not readily available. There's a healthy chance, like I said in the last video, that the original image may be lost to time forever, okay? The internet, it's not as if like, you upload something and it's bound to stay there forever, right? There are chances that servers just stop working, they were never cataloged, and the original image may be sitting on a hard drive somewhere. But I still have faith that it probably exists somewhere on the internet. And that's what a lot of the researchers behind the Jeff the Killer search hope for, which is why a lot of effort has been put towards understanding how certain 4chan work, certain foreign image boards work, and just gathering data off of them. Also, the other big challenge compared to the back rooms is clearly there is also a language barrier as well, too. Obviously, the Jeff the Killer search is primarily done in Japanese, and with American researchers, getting past that language barrier is already a challenge enough, right? Like, maybe if the Japanese were as invested as us, maybe this might be found. Maybe. But I don't think the Japanese community is necessarily so far interested in this as much as us here in North America or Europe trying to find Jeff the Killer. Now, of course, obviously, to tie it all off to, one of my interesting things with lost media, and one of the things that really intrigues me the most, is just the search. I think the search is really what baffles me the most. The amount of effort that actual community members take to work together and find the most obscure things on the internet just to recover, maybe for posterity's sake, but just also to recover an actual piece of old school shit floating around on the internet. One of my favorite websites recently that I got brought attention to towards like one of the streams that I did a couple days ago was the Lost Media Wiki. Now, the Lost Media Wiki is an entire wiki, that is dedicated, obviously, to lost media. And it actually shed just how much fucking lost media actually exists. So if you actually scroll around down over here, you can find that this is literally, it just doesn't stop. It can be music, it can be video games, it can be pieces of software. There is so much media that is just never recovered that it actually is a little saddening to read. Like, for instance, one of these games, Okochi Gengoro Ika, which is a lost build of an unreleased Nintendo 64 simulation game all the way back in the late 1990s. The only actual evidence that leads to this is one channel on the internet known as the Tubero, who actually covered the story themselves on the internet. And they actually showed what appeared to be games, possible ROM, well, the screenshots really. And all of this was grabbed from one blog that exists, from Game Tantaden. And obviously you can see these screenshots, and whether this is real or not, whether the ROM actually exists, no one knows, because we have no actual preserved version of this. Like, I want to play this literally just because it exists. And obviously if you look at the actual date that this was like posted, from my understanding, back in 2007. Who knows if the person behind this even still gives a shit about this project. But then again, you've got lighter stuff like the Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City lost builds of a canceled GameCube port, right, of those two games. Now again, the only actual information behind it is a Game Cubicle article, cute name by the way, which actually talks about these specific ports, quite literally. So whether this is real or not, who knows? But it is in the tale of lost media. And again, to whittle it on back to Jeff the Killer, the bounty is still active. 10 grand is still on the line. And I really believe that if it's not 2024, I really think with the amount of effort that the community is putting behind it, and as close as they've gotten with some of these leads where you can almost just taste that original image, I think 2025 might be the year that I write a fat check to somebody who actually puts in a crazy amount of due diligence and finds what is one of the internet's most elusive creepypasta images right there. So yeah, I guess at the end of the day, you could probably stop sending me the images right now, because to understand, there hasn't been any actual proven image. And I really feel that the only people that are going to find this are the dedicated internet researchers in the JTK Discord and Reddit right now. So I always wish them the best. I really do. I really do hope that they actually end up finding this. And, as somebody that also wants to contribute to detecting it, the only issue that I have is obviously the Japanese language barrier. But it's one of those things where from time to time, late at night, I try looking through some of the archives, because really, it is just a situation of a shit ton of information. And maybe in the next few weeks, maybe in the next couple months, maybe in the next year, we might actually make a video where I say Jeff the Killer has finally been found. That is a day I can't fucking wait to see. But ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.